Namaskara and welcome to the South Indian. My name is Sudha Sadanand and as always I shall bring to you 9 top stories from the south of India. The first big story which we are tracking. Parvathi Siddaramaiah offers to return 14 MUDA plots. Can Parvathi save Siddaramaiah? That's the first story. So there you have it. Can Parvathi save Siddaramaiah? That's the question we are asking. You know what? From the time the MUDA scam burst forth in August, Siddaramaiah has seldom been surprised. Because most often he has just been extremely angry.
We are protesting is demanding rejectation. Yes, sir. Okay. Sorry, sir.
The reason for the anger being a case filed by the ED against Siddaramaiah and a money laundering case related to the Mysuru Urban Development Authority or MUDA land scam. The ED took cognizance of a recent state Lokayukta FIR which has included Siddaramaiah, his wife BM Parvathi, brother-in-law Mallikarjuna Swamy and Devaraju in the FIR. But Siddaramaiah was indeed taken by surprise and for the first time in a long time when in a letter to MUDA Commissioner, the CM's wife Parvathi submitted that she is willing to return all the 14 sites that were allocated to her in Mysuru's Vijayanagar as compensation by the same authority. In her letter, this is what Mrs. Siddaramaiah or Parvathi said. As all are aware, Mysore Urban Development Authority has allotted 14 plots of various sizes in the 3rd and 4th stage of Vijayanagar as compensation for the authority using my land measuring 3 acres 16 gunte in survey number 464 of Kesare village in Kasaba Hubballi in Mysuru without land acquisition. Further, I wish to surrender and return the compensation plots by cancelling the deeds of 14 plots executed in my favour by the MUDA. I am also handing over the possession of the plots back to the MUDA. Parvathi Siddaramaiah also expressed her anguish over her husband's long and untarnished political life and almost took a vow to ensure that she shall not allow even the smallest blemish to fall on her husband. The opposition, which has been protesting against Siddaramaiah and baying for his blood to resign, termed her letter as a near admission of guilt and demanded that Siddaramaiah should resign from the chief ministership.
See, D.K. Shivakumar and couple of other senior leaders within the Congress party, they are chief ministers in waiting. According to my information, yesterday's discussion between D.K. Shivakumar and Parameshwar, they have taken a clear stand that it's already too late and they should seek the resignation of Chief Minister Siddaramaiah. I am told the Congress High Command has already taken this decision. Same allegations was also, same thing they had told against the governor also. When Honorable Governor gave permission for prosecution, Chief Minister, Deputy Chief Minister and all the ministers has alleged as a political vendetta against Raj Bhavan and Governor. In fact, they said the governor has become a puppet in the hands of central government. But now after the High Court judgment, everything is in black and white. High Court has clearly indicated. So now after Enforcement Directorate has registered ECIR, again they are alleging the political vendetta. This will not stand, this will not hold good in the eyes of law.
In his post on X, Legislative Assembly's opposition leader R. Ashoka said, and I am reading it, as the law tightens around the MUDA scam, Chief Minister Siddaramaiah has decided to return the 14 plots acquired in his wife's name. Now to the surprise expressed by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah on the letter written by his wife Parvathi, even he wrote on X. He said, "My wife Parvathi has returned the sites that were given in the form of compensation for the land that was seized by MUDA in Mysuru without carrying out land acquisition. Upset with the political conspiracy against me, she has taken a decision to return these sites. Her decision has surprised me too. And then Siddaramaiah, in a latest post on X, however, sounded both defensive and defiant, not any more surprised, and said, "Land was gifted by my wife's brother to her. MUDA encroached on it, and for this she asked alternative site. She didn't ask for Vijayanagara, but they gave it. This has become big politics now. Let them, that is BJP, JDS, do whatever they want. Money laundering does not come into the picture here. What is my role? My wife thought it had become a reason for politics, so she wrote a letter because she didn't want any controversy. B.U.'s Yedurappa's case and mine is a different case. He did denotification of land and I am not involved in it. I will not give my resignation as a self-witness. Whether ED or anything else, I will fight it out legally." And for now, let's hear all the reactions from Siddaramaiah's cabinet on the MUDA scam.
The intricacies or the decisions of ED to register a PMLA case. As far as I know, there was no financial transactions. There is no benefit out of those transactions either by CM or CM's wife. In both the cases, I don't see any financial transactions. So why or how the ED has entered, I don't know. They have to justify later on.
It is of shock and surprise for me that how can MUDA issue be money laundering? Where is money? See, it was an allotment of a site, not recent occurrence also. Almost a decades have passed in this episode.
The question is, can Parvathi save Siddaramaiah? Obviously not, as the law will take its own course. But isn't the letter way too dramatic to deal with the serious charges faced by Chief Minister Siddaramaiah? Let's ask all the experts. Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, senior journalist and political analyst, has joined us. Vijay Prasad, spokesperson for the BJP, and Satya Prakash, spokesperson for the KPCC, but he is joining me on the phone line and he's busy, and therefore let me first give the mic, as it were, to Satya Prakash. Satya Prakash ji, a very warm welcome. Satya Prakash ji, you know, this letter, it actually reminds me of all those mythological stories, you know, where the wife will make a great sacrifice for the life, longevity of her husband. The case is not against her only, sir. The case is also against her brother, and the guns are now, you know, targeted towards Siddaramaiah. So, how is Parvathi's letter? Also, I want to ask you first, Siddaramaiah sir says, I am very surprised because she is a housewife, she never interferes in politics, and then he says she wrote a letter. You know, there is a whole lot of confusion. I think Mr. Siddaramaiah is now, frankly, after Lokayukta and also ED, wrapped himself in coil after coil. Satya Prakash ji? All right, I think there is some problem with Mr. Satya Prakash's phone line. Let me now go to Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, and later I'll go to Vijay Prasad. Dr. Itnal, welcome to the broadcast, sir. I mean, would you like to take this question that I asked, because it's like really mythology, you know, good old days. I don't want to name the gods because I'll be jailed, but you know, when they all prayed that I will do this sacrifice, tyag, for my husband. What is this, sir? This is a serious charge. It should be dealt with that. You know, what do you have to say, Dr. Itnal?
Is going to save Siddaramaiah at all. At best, it is a melodrama. It is just a political melodrama now, because what has happened is, if Siddaramaiah were to react similarly at the first instance, when opposition asked him for a house debate, then if we had to return all the sites, then he would have ordered a comprehensive inquiry into all the irregularities that would have happened in all urban development authorities of the entire state, things would have been taken a different turn. Now, instead, he went on defending himself. He went on saying that he has done no wrong, and governor's office is being used politically by the opposition. And eventually, when the High Court ordered an investigation, and then the Lokayuta files an FIR, following that, following that this happens, but before this, what happened? Siddaramaiah, withdraws the general consent for CBI investigations in the state. Siddaramaiah cabinet withdraws that. And, of course, we all know that the Supreme Court itself has, termed CBI as a caged parrot. But they did not take the general consent back in that context. They took back the general consent in the context of the High Court ordering an inquiry against the Chief Minister. So then this comes, after FIR comes this. So now, all this is, this may not be 100% admission to guilt, but somehow Siddaramaiah is definitely on the back foot, both politically and more so in political optics. And in the context of forthcoming elections, I wonder if even the AICC can afford to go on defending Siddaramaiah and, certify.
All right.
And assert his integrity on a daily basis.
Okay.
And face elections in other states.
Dr. Itnal, I'm sorry to interject, sir. I have to take a break. This is mandatory. But when I come back, we will keep the debate going. Thank you for your patience, Doctor.
In the heart of New York, an Indian spectacle unfolds. Step into the world of the elite saga, featuring influential Indians who've rocked the globe. From culinary geniuses,
this has been nothing less than a dream,
to the wisdom of sages.
And which is why success can never be spelt without you.
Discover the stories behind the stars. Experience the magic behind the scenes. At the first Indian event at the Statue of Liberty. Watch the Elite Saga streaming only on News9 Plus. Download now.
Terrorism always flows like water. It will go in the direction where there is no obstacle.
Bloodbath in Jammu. 5 soldiers die after terrorists open fire at an army convoy in Kathua.
Pakistan essentially is doing is opening a new frontier in the Jammu region.
This and more. Streaming on News9 Plus. News is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
All right, welcome back. That's what we are asking. Can Parvathi save Siddaramaiah? Dr. Baswaraj Itnal, senior journalist, said no. Parvathi obviously cannot save Siddaramaiah, and it is proving to be detrimental for Siddaramaiah, the optics as it were. Dr. Itnal, before I go to the other guest, Vijay Prasad of the BJP, I want to bring to your notice one thing. See, this Siddaramaiah says that this was illegally MUDA acquired in 2021 during the previous BJP government tenure. He said that it is illegally acquired by MUDA. This is what, Siddaramaiah has gone on said. I want to ask, Parvathi, I respect her. I know the kind of, my mother is also like that. They don't interfere in what the men do. But the point is they stand up when anything wrong is going on. And my God, they can scream their head off. We know this. I'm asking, suddenly what has happened to Parvathi madam's conscience? I mean, if it was illegally acquired in 2021, why did she not talk about it then?
No, all these questions have been raised in the complaint by CM Krishna and T.J. Abraham, and this has been read in the Honorable High Court's order, last week. Having said that, there are very strange things that Siddaramaiah is saying these days. That he says openly to the media, he says that my wife had surrendered all these sites and I don't know about it. How can it even possible? How is it even possible? As long as they're together, how can a wife take a decision without consulting him? That too on such a serious matter. It's not just a small kitchen matter. This is a very serious thing. So Siddaramaiah, I don't know to whom he is playing this kind of card. And apart from that, he says that I've given and why should I be held responsible and all that? No, the money laundering or whatever, corruption and all charges involves not direct involvement. Nobody signs on a check and gets a bribe.
Exactly.
This is what the court also has said. The beneficiary is none other than Chief Minister's family, and prima facie there is. Apparently, it appears that the CM's office had been misused. Yeah. All this has been read in the order. So, such being the case, number one, they try to, ask for quashing of FIR, which is not possible because the investigation itself is ordered by the court. And then what they did, they went ahead and filed an FIR against the finance minister and the BJP chief in Karnataka on electoral bond case. Yes. Again, that is also. Electoral bond and that scam is a totally separate.
Yeah, it's absolutely, the metaphor is also very different. And ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you, Snemai Krishna, the man who's one of the petitioners who actually, first brought this up, even against him today an FIR has been lodged from old case. They did it for Abraham also, but that proved wrong. What is wrong? Vijay Prasad, let me have you on the screen right now, sir. What they are saying is that, listen, even Mr. Patil said this morning, and I heard him in some Kannada channel, he's saying, what money laundering? PMLA? Wow, PMLA, where is the money being transferred? But my point is that if for 2 rupees, the land which was for 2 rupees, let us presume, was sold back to me, which was for 10 rupees, obviously, I have made more money on this. But the point is that the laundering of the money, whether it is to Desaraju, whether it is to Mallikarjun, that is Parvathi's brother, they say there is nothing with the ED to prove that. Vijay, your comments.
Sudha.
Hi.
Let me tell the Congress panelist who is probably he might be on the show or who is not on the show, or if Mr. Patil is listening or the Home Minister is listening. Okay, what I would like to say is, Section 5, subsection 1 of the PMLA, okay, Prevention of Money Laundering Act, empowers attachment of the property, period. If it is in plain English, and the Honorable Home Minister probably understands and reads the English very well. So, I have plainly said, Section 5, subsection 1 of the PMLA Act empowers to attach the property, period. No, this one. Now, let's come back to the case. Right from the day one, when the Karnataka government on the floor of the house adjourned the house one day before, the downfall of Siddaramaiah started. And they started calling Raj Bhavan as a BJP office, governor as a BJP agent. These were the statements made by the Congress leaders, including the CM, Home Minister, and all the Congress's fans. This was before the order. When the order came, okay, the Honorable Justice, if you read the 197-page order, Sudha, it is just not an order. It is like a charge sheet. Okay, right from the page 1. The Honorable High Court has started with the powers vested with the Chief Ministers. He had, throughout from 1999 till 2024, one or the other person he has held.
All right, okay, fine. I just want you to, no, you can't go on like this, Vijay. Then we'll write a book, please, Vijay.
Then why did you ask me the question?
No, but you're finished. No, I want to ask you about Parvathi.
Okay, here, Sudha, the crux of the matter the crux of the matter is the central point is the Siddaramaiah. Okay, Siddaramaiah is acting on behalf of his wife.
Exactly. Exactly. I agree.
Whatever the transactions that has been
exactly
made, including the letter, including the letter, is done by Siddaramaiah to save his skins. Probably in this case, Siddaramaiah is putting his wife under the bus. That's all.
Those are very strong words, Vijay, but those are your words. But I do not know.
See, this is exactly what. See, he is trying to
and let me clarify. Let Vijay. Let me clarify. The other panelist is not a Congress spokesperson. Congress spokesperson joined us, Satya Prakash, and he vanished. The other person is an independent journalist, much like me. We don't belong to any party. So let me clarify this.
There's only 3 viewership, Sudha. Probably the others might be there might be other viewership who is listening to this. Or
I don't know what you're saying.
Or watching this.
I don't know what you're saying. Maybe I'll come back to you, when I understand. Okay. Dr. Itnal, I want to ask you this, that, look, first to say, when this whole story broke, I don't know if you were on my show, I only spoke about one thing and the Congress went hammer and tongs against me. I said, yes, at that time it was the BJP government, but whatever was done for Parvathi Siddaramaiah, it must have been done because of Siddaramaiah's influence. It's like honor amongst, colleagues. I'm not using the other word. Okay. So I'm not using that word. So I'm saying that it's his influence. See, Siddaramaiah as against me or as against anyone else, who's an ordinary citizen of this country. Throughout, if you see, and would you agree what Vijay makes a very pertinent point? This letter, this is just balderdash to say that she wrote it on her own. It clearly looks like Mr. Siddaramaiah wrote it, showed it to her, and then said, we are releasing it to the press.
See, in fact, it's not only Siddaramaiah who wrote it. Probably it is drafted under very good legal advice as well, and very good political advice as well. These things, and Siddaramaiah cannot be saying this and expecting us to believe that his wife did not tell him about the letter, that his wife did not discuss this with him. She has directly written to the MUDA. All those things are just, that's just rhetoric, and the pointless rhetoric at that, because everybody knows that this is a very serious matter, involves a lot of legal and political implications. So there is a political and legal input to this, including Siddaramaiah and his advisors. Other thing is, we're talking about these merits of the case right from the day one. I had been talking, on various channels, saying that this is no time to go into the merits of the case. Right now, this is primarily a case of propriety. Number one, when there is an allegation, and by the way, the history of the case doesn't start with 2022. It starts with 1992.
Yes.
The history of the case is from 1992. The various governments, everything is read into the complaint. So now, why I say it is not a matter of merit and only a matter of propriety? Because merits will be considered by investigation officer, and that will be considered by the court of law.
Yeah.
But why it is propriety is, at that point in time, if there was any
let me interject you, because Satya Prakash ji has joined us. Apparently he has to go back into the meeting. Satya ji, welcome to the show. We were waiting for you. Satya Prakash ji, I am asking you, can Parvathi madam save Siddaramaiah? Because it seems like Siddaramaiah is really in a big problem now. And what will Parvathi madam's letter do, sir? Why do you, I don't understand. This is now in the legal, court matter. Why is it that Mrs. Siddaramaiah is now included in this very melodramatic letter? It's a sweet letter from a wife to the husband. But why, this letter at all?
Sudha, hi Sudha. Sorry,
hi.
I was in a very important, I was in the meeting, the GPC.
No
That's okay,
problem.
but I will tell you, what is the problem, See, you all should understand what sort of a lady Parvathi Siddaramaiah is. In the whole career of 40 years, spanning 40 years of Siddaramaiah, she has never been seen with her husband even once in a public function.
Yes.
That is the what do you say? Mugd bolte na. That she is a very, very innocent lady, pious lady. She never interferes in any political things of the chief minister for the last 40 years. Now, if someone wants to come here and tell that is a letter written by Siddaramaiah, he should be ashamed. The guy should be ashamed because Parvathi Siddaramaiah has signed a letter to the MUDA and she has given a clarification to the press stating why.
You know,
she wanted to give this prize.
We know that. Satya, first of all, being quiet and being virtuous and being pious is not a virtue. We are talking about the Chief Minister of this Karnataka. Madam is pious, virtuous, very quiet, very nice. Good. I salute her. But this is about MUDA. This is about impropriety. All I am saying is, this is not an epic where a woman will walk on fire to prove that she is, pure. We are not living in that era. Get real. This is MUDA. Why is it that Mr. Siddaramaiah is now hiding behind this letter? Because both the Lokayukta and as well as the ED, they are all ready with the charges. I want to ask you, you are defiant. You are saying, I will not resign. I just think that this letter by Mrs. Parvathi Siddaramaiah, whom I respect, madam, but the point is, it is such a melodrama in such a way, Satya Prakash. Why should anyone be ashamed? What is there to be ashamed of? I am not.
You should allow me to speak. I said people should be ashamed because they said that Siddaramaiah has written the letter. It is utter nonsense for someone to cast apprehensions. Why do you think that a lady cannot write a letter? She cannot address the press. What is this?
She's always been quiet, Satya. Satya, she's always been quiet, no? She doesn't know politics, no? She's never come for a rally, no? Suddenly she'll write a letter. Strange.
Why can't she write a letter? Point number one. You please go through this one press statement that she has given. She has nowhere said that please stop the investigation. Please do the investigation is what she has said. She has never run away from the investigation. She said, please investigate, but am I audible?
Yes, Satya, go on.
Please investigate, but I want to, since you are all casting apprehensions on those sites, I am not a woman who is behind jewelry, money, sites, etc. If you feel that my 3 acres, 16 quintas, these people have given very, very precious land, I am giving away that land. Now, Sudha is the point. Will all the JDS Kumaraswamy's 1 acre, 17 quintas in Gangenahalli worth 400 crores, which is given to his mother-in-law. Does Kumaraswamy have the guts to give it back?
No, I'm not. I'm not. Maybe HDK. I don't want to talk about HDK or other people. I'm talking only about Siddaramaiah. I want to ask you something, and I'm sorry to other guests because Mr. Satya Prakash is a Congress spokesperson. Satya Prakash ji, I steal your pen. You file a case, after that I return it to you, we shake hands like school buddies and say, everything okay Satya, I hope you will forgive me. Is it like that?
I have. Has Siddaramaiah's wife said, you don't investigate, Sudha? Please keep fair to that lady, Sudha. As she said, don't investigate.
They will investigate, but returning that 14, I mean a lot of water has flown under the Kaveri from 1992 to 2024. Let them investigate the case. The Lokayukta as well as the ED, they are ready with all the IPC sections now to go, and whatever the law says, we will all say salute, thanks judiciary. But I think to put the wife in front, I mean, I would not, because here is a man, Mr. Siddaramaiah, he says morality is the most important thing. If he is really a moral person and if he says let the law take its own course, then I don't see why he should push his wife in front and kind of almost hide behind her. That's all I have time for. I'm so sorry. Thanks to all my guests. This was our first debate on Can Parvathi Save Siddaramaiah. I'm sorry to the other guest. I could not give you enough time. Maybe next time. Our next big story is HYDRAA, that is in Hyderabad, softens its stand on demolitions. Commissioner R. Ranganath says agency will not touch the homes of the poor. That's coming up, the second story.
of my friend was residing here. Every rainy season, he will take his mom or otherwise even the dog also, pet dog also, he will take the pet dog and go to the resort, which is at Banasura Sagar Dam. This time around, he didn't. So, completely washed out. There is no idea about my friend.
हमारा फैमिली में रिलेटेड फैमिली था और उसके रिलेशन में तकरीबन 20 लोग मरा हुआ। अभी हमको पता नहीं सलाह अभी मिलेगा नहीं मिलेगा, अभी 5 दिन हो गया।
Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
जानना है तो देखिए, समझना है तो सुनिए, सीखना है तो पूछिए और कमाना है तो खरीदिए। जानकारी, सलाह और निवेश सब एक ही सुपर ऐप पर। पैसे का सवाल है तो जवाब है Money9। आजादी पैसे की, अभी डाउनलोड करें।
PM Modi is the first ever Indian Prime Minister to visit Ukraine. His visit comes 2 years after around 17,000 Indian students were safely evacuated amidst the Russia-Ukraine war under his leadership. Watch Airlift, the story of how the evacuations unfolded only on the News9 Plus app.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
All right, that's our second story. HYDRAA softens its stand on demolitions. In a turnaround, following the Telangana High Court's stern warning, HYDRAA has softened its approach to demolition policies. But demolitions around Musi catchment shall, of course, continue. Now, there are two aspects to it. One is the Musi riverfront, which is different from HYDRAA. But all of that, of course, concerns Hyderabad. Now, the homes marked with RBX and already vacated are being demolished. Commissioner A.V. Ranganath of HYDRAA announced that the agency will cease its demolition activities concerning illegal uninhabited buildings. On 30th of September, Ranganath made a very bold statement and said that HYDRAA will not engage in surveying homes along the Musi River or relocating residents. So, it's hands off Musi, as it were. He assured the public that no demolitions are taking place along the river banks. Now, the beautification project for the Musi River is solely managed by the Musi Riverfront Development Corporation. Ranganath clarified that HYDRAA's jurisdiction is limited to the Nehru Outer Ring Road only. He further reiterated that the agency will not be accountable for demolitions in Hyderabad or its surrounding areas. He also stressed that HYDRAA will never touch the homes of the poor and will not demolish any inhabited homes. The Commissioner, Ranganath, also revealed that HYDRAA is stepping into traffic management as well. The agency is apparently now collaborating with police traffic officials to identify congestion, hotspots and develop plans to alleviate the gridlock. Now, questions arise, had the protest not erupted over HYDRAA's actions or had the Telangana High Court not kind of wrapped the state government, would HYDRAA have changed its stance? Is this a shift, a genuine course correction, or merely a damage control exercise in response to the court's warning? And to speak more on this, I've not got politicians. I made, I made myself a promise that this is not about you did this and I did this. So therefore, I have Varghese Tekkanath, who's the convener for Campaign for Housing and Tenurial Rights, a man who's a very, very well-known activist. May I call you Varghese, sir?
Please.
Yeah. Okay. I want to ask you this, when this entire, let's not just concentrate on Musi, as I said, and like I said, this is about HYDRAA also. Months ago when Revant Reddy spoke about it, I saw some merit in it because it was high time. The earlier governments had also spoken about cleansing, beautifying Hyderabad, but somehow their hands were tied, Varghese. They thought something has to be done. So this is to see that this kind of devastating floods which hit Telangana this time and Andhra Pradesh as well, those conditions do not apply. 10,000 and more lakes which are congested in Hyderabad. So do you agree, Varghese, that basically the HYDRAA project is to spruce up Hyderabad?
Yes. I think an organization like HYDRAA that takes responsibility for the rivers and lakes of this city is important, and perhaps it is too late. But let me also say, we have been basically working on the banks of the river Musi since 1997, when Nandanavanam project was plotted by the then TDP government. At that time, they had brought a plan to beautify Musi River, and the estimated cost at the very initial budget was around 5 crores, of which 1 lakh rupees, 1,08,000 rupees to be exact, and this is, I'm talking about 1997. 1,08,000 rupees was set apart for rehabilitation. They didn't even call it rehabilitation. That budget was meant to demolish houses and transport people to wherever they are. In other words, absolutely no rehabilitation plan.
Okay.
We fought through right from that time, and every new government has come up with a beautification of the Musi River project, Musi River, cleaning up the Musi River, and people who have lived along the river, both within the city and in the villages, in the downstream, are extremely happy that the Musi River is being restored and revived. But one thing that we have been making right from the beginning is it is not the river versus the people, river opposed to people, but the river and people.
So are you happy that now Ranganath has said that no demolitions near Musi River as of now, it's hands off Musi?
I thought it was always, it was never their responsibility.
Musi it was not, because Musi is a different, yes, that's what I want the viewers to know.
It's an entirely new project.
Different, yeah. But Varghese, I want to also bring to your notice about HYDRAA, because there is a lot of hullabaloo, and considering you are an activist, I mean, who's also worked, you know, you have a social responsibility that you speak about. You know, HYDRAA went ahead and broke and demolished the homes of, you know, people who live in very, very posh and tony localities like Jubilee Hills, Banjara Hills, and one of the, you know, Akkineni Nagarjuna's property was also, you know, kind of touched by them. I want to get your perspective first on this HYDRAA thing, where they are demolishing, and of course now they are saying we are only demolishing those where we have, you know, the permission to do so. Do you think it's a good start point, as it were, Varghese?
I think the High Court has come up rather strongly.
Yes.
On certain principles that need to be wherever demolitions take place. I think this is something that any system, any government, in other words, the rule of law, and government as the guardians of the rule of law need to adhere to. So this is something that now India is a signatory to in fact, India has ratified the guiding principles of internal displacement that the UN has, and then India is a signatory to it. India has ratified it, and I think they set very clear principles when it comes to displacement.
All right. Yeah.
When it comes to demolition.
So you are saying that there should be enough of a rehabilitation plan. The people who are being impacted, they should also be taken into confidence before any such thing is mounted. Now, you know, I'm talking, that's what I have been reading through what you have said, you know, in several newspapers, Varghese, Tekanath. I want to shift again the focus. Musi, of course, is very different from HYDRAA. But, you know, a lot of criticism for HYDRAA because there was, you know, it was alleged that a woman had died by suicide. And of course, later, you know, the ruling dispensation said that is not the reason. It could be paranoia, it could be fear, or whatever that is concerned. Do you think we have a system in place? You know, ultimately, the end goal may be something very noble and very nice, that you are beautifying Hyderabad. But do you think we have a system in place, Varghese?
You really do not.
Okay.
I'm just happy as far as I see. I have been watching, being involved. I just came from on the banks of Musi River, where people are just being vacated, and it is heartbreaking. Last 1 week, I have been seeing how agonizing it is. I have lived in Musa Nagar in Chadagarh for 12 years in the slums. I know every house, practically every individual. This is a story that has been my own story of what is happening there. And right from the beginning, I'm talking about again what happens on the Musi River, because that is what I very strongly have been involved with. Is as valid as anywhere else in the state, anywhere else in the country. That there has to be principles, there has to be a policy of our management of our water bodies. Our water bodies need to be protected. If there are encroachments, they have to be removed. Laws need to be adhered to. But I think there is a huge difference between someone who buys land. In fact, each of those houses that are being demolished today on the banks of the river Musi, and many of them, there are a lot of people who are not given to it.
All right. On that note,
they have bought these lands.
Yeah.
They have documents to show this.
They are tied to it. Culturally, you speak about that there are lots of, tendrils there which are connected. But then this is so unfortunate. Thank you so much, Varghese Tekkanath, for joining us and for your perspective on how the people have to be taken into confidence before you come up with any plans which involves demolition. The next story is coming from Tamil Nadu. Madras High Court asks, why is Isha Foundation encouraging young women to live like hermits? That's the next story. It's on Isha Foundation of the man on your screen, Jaggi Vasudev, the Sadguru. Okay, that's the question. Madras High Court questions Sadhguru's ashram. S. Kamaraj, a retired professor of the Tamil Nadu Agricultural University in Coimbatore, filed a habeas corpus petition, which is called HCP, and alleged that two of his well-educated daughters, well-educated meaning engineers, postgraduates, aged 42 and 39 years, were brainwashed, he alleges, to reside at the Isha Yoga Center run by Sadhguru Jaggi Vasudev. This man alleged that both his daughters had virtually abandoned him and his 63-year-old wife and caused the couple great distress. They were totally cut off from the parents. The man also alleged that some kind of food and medicine was perhaps being administered to his daughters at the yoga center, making them lose their cognitive faculties. Let me explain that these are the allegations made by the father of these daughters. The women, however, refuted their father's claims, and rightly so, because they both are adults, 42 and 39. And said that it was out of their own volition and no one had actually detained them anywhere. You know what, one would have thought that with that the case would have been dismissed. But then the judges made a few observations. The first observation is as follows. We want to know why a person who had given his daughter in marriage and made her settle well in life is encouraging the daughters of others to tonsure their heads and live the life of a hermitess. That is the doubt. Now, that observation by the judge was in the context of Sadhguru's daughter's marital status. She's married. Sadhguru was there when he married off his daughter. Next, when the young women intervened yet again to say this is out of our own volition, the judges addressed them and said, you claim to be on the path of spirituality? Don't you think that neglecting your parents is a sin? Love all and hate none is the principle of devotion, but we could see so much of hatred in you for your parents, you are not even addressing them respectfully. A strange case, wouldn't you agree? Because the women are adults, but then in recent times there have been multiple criminal cases involving the Isha Foundation, and recently about a doctor who had been booked under the POCSO Act. It's the anguish of a father whose daughters have decided to live in an ashram at the end of the day. That's the story. And the next story, all is well with superstar Rajinikanth. That's coming up next. All right then, all well with superstar Rajinikanth, darling of the masses. Rajinikanth was admitted to a Chennai hospital for what's being described as a periodic checkup. The statement from Apollo Hospital reads as follows: Rajinikanth is stable and doing well. He shall be discharged in 2 days. Tamil Nadu Health Minister Ma Subramanian confirmed that the 73-year-old actor's condition is indeed stable and there is absolutely no need for any kind of concern. Rajinikanth was admitted late Monday night ahead of the scheduled checkup, which was initially planned for Tuesday morning. The actor is apparently being treated for some kind of digestive discomfort and shall undergo an elective procedure to address a problem near his abdomen. According to hospital sources, Rajinikanth will be moved to a room after the procedure and is expected to be discharged very soon. Tamil Nadu Governor R.N. Ravi said in a post on social media platform X, I stand with the millions of devoted fans of Thiru Rajinikanth around the globe in praying for his swift and smooth recovery. Tamil Nadu Chief Minister M.K. Stalin wished the superstar a speedy recovery. Fans and followers can be rest assured that the superstar condition is stable. Even his wife, Lata Rajinikanth, she told a media outlet that all was well with her husband. Rajinikanth is a fighter. He fought almost a decade ago, more than actually a decade ago, in Singapore, and this time around also this 73-year-old superstar has fought and is soon to come back, and more importantly will start shooting the minute the doctor says, go, you can work now. That is superstar Rajinikanth. All right then, as promised, I leave you with some of the other top stories from the south of India. Thank you for watching. Keep well. Vanakkam.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
This is News 9 Live.
India's only digital exclusive live stream. For the early adopters, bringing you the news 24/7. For the smart audiences on the smartest TVs. News9 Live. Stream now on your smart TVs.
A new eye drop could help billions of people aged between 40 and 65 to do away with their reading glasses. The good news is that the miracle eye drop will soon be available in India. Miracle cure for presbyopia. Which eye drop can help millions of Indians do away with reading glasses? News9 Plus decodes. PressView eye drops developed by Entod Pharmaceuticals R&D Centre in India received the final approval from the Drug Controller General of India on the 3rd of September. Earlier, the Central Drug Standard Control Organization's Subject Expert Committee had recommended the product. Essentially, the drops find a condition called presbyopia. To lend some perspective, it is a major breakthrough achieved by homegrown pharma maker. In the United States, just one drop called Uvity has received the FDA nod to treat age-related blurry vision. What is presbyopia? Well, presbyopia is a gradual loss of eye's ability to focus on nearby objects according to Mayo Clinic. It is a natural part of aging that usually manifests itself in the early 40s and worsens until about age 65. This affects between 1.9 million and 1.80 billion people worldwide. In India, nearly 45% of adults above the age of 40 suffer from this and need reading glasses. What is the science behind the miracle drop? The drop not just eliminates the need for reading glasses, but also lubricates your eyes. The drops use an advanced dynamic buffer technology which allows them to adapt quickly to the pH value of the tears, ensuring consistent efficacy and safety for long-term use. The pH of tears is generally around 7.45, but it can range between 7.14 to 7.82. When will the eye drops be available in India? PressView eye drops will be available in the domestic market in the first week of October. One vial of PressView eye drops is likely to cost around 345 rupees. The vial is designed to last about a month. How frequently can the drops be used? Don't do self-medication and use the drop only after consulting your eye specialist. But the medication is typically used once every day. The effect lasts several hours. Only one drop of the drug should be put in each eye every day. An additional drop can be put in each eye 3 to 6 hours after the first drop.
For the very first time in our investigation, we unmasked the killer of Ravindra Matre.
In 5G, we have to stand with the world, and in 6G, we have to lead the world.
Winning a Grammy was an absolutely surreal experience.
In what is already being called the 9/11 of cyber attacks, Hezbollah operatives across southern Lebanon and Beirut were struck by a devastating and highly sophisticated attack when their communication devices, pagers, were turned into bombs. Cyber warfare has been changed forever, and everyday electronic devices can now be weaponized. So how will the 9/11 of cyber attacks change the world? News9 Plus decodes. Let's begin by examining what happened to Hezbollah. For long, Hezbollah was reputed to be one of the most secretive militant organizations in the world, with fiber optic cables used as the chief means of communication. Hezbollah's command and control networks were impervious to snooping or hacking. The methods employed in this attack, however, were both ingenious and chilling. According to reports, Israeli operatives allegedly gained access to a shipment of Hezbollah pagers. Each of these devices' batteries was then tampered with the addition of as little as 5 grams of plastic explosives. At about 3:45 p.m. on Tuesday, 17 September 2024, a message was delivered to these devices, and as the pagers beeped, they exploded, causing widespread injuries and chaos. The fact that Hezbollah's network could be compromised in such a devastating manner raises immediate concerns. If Hezbollah with its tight security protocols can be hit, what does this mean for others relying on supposedly secure communication technology? So how does this attack impact nations across the world? The impact of this cyber attack reverberates far beyond Hezbollah and West Asia. Every security agency, intelligence service, and militant group around the world is now closely analyzing the specifics of this very incident. The reality that even low-tech everyday devices can be turned into bombs has caused a seismic shift in the understanding of cyber warfare. Today it's Israel that allegedly conducted such a strike. Tomorrow it could be militants using similar tactics to devastating effect. This incident makes it imperative that we reconsider how secure our communication networks truly are. Electronic devices, which are ubiquitous in modern life, will now be scrutinized with suspicion, from mobile phones to smart home devices. The potential that they could be weaponized introduces a new level of risk for both personal and national security. How does the Lebanon attack change security protocols? A whole new industry will likely emerge around the detection and prevention of such threats. Companies specializing in cybersecurity will need to expand their focus to include the safeguarding of physical components within electronic devices. Airport security checks, new protocols, and precautionary measures will also become increasingly complex. As it is, lithium-ion batteries are already a security issue at airports. Imagine what similar explosives could do to an aircraft or a fast-moving train. For civilians, security procedures may become more invasive and rigorous. Imagine a future where your phone, tablet, or even a smartwatch needs to be checked for potential explosives at airport security. The implications of this cyber attack will not only change how we look at technology, but also how we interact with it in daily life.
Muktiwani Yoda was aide to Sheikh Mujib came to my show. I told him that the family of Sheikh Mujib is under captivity of the Pakistani forces. The first lady came with Sheikh Mujib and she embraced me and said, God, the Allah has sent you to save us. Modi ji and the Hasina. During talk, she brought out this point again, that Major Ashok Tara of Indian Army said me, my mother, my sister, my brother, we got independence on 17th December because of Ashok Tara.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
It's said that out of 7 diamonds across the world, 5 are cut and polished in India.
Don't forget, US is the largest consumer of, polished diamonds and the diamond jewelry, and that has taken a big beating for multiple reasons, but largely because of the consumer spending going down on these items, and that's essentially what has hit the diamond industry.
We are at a brim where you see not just one, but multiple very strong global brands coming out of India, and we will make a global mark, and I'm convinced about that.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus news is now content. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
This was the kind of terrain that mountaineers basically climb on. You're talking of peaks of 15,000 and 16,000 feet. You have trouble breathing, the cold, the high altitude, the dizziness, the enemy staring at your face. And in some of those cases, the Pakistanis were not even expending ammunition. They were throwing rocks at the Indian soldiers. That's how close it was.
This and more. Streaming on News9 plus. Subscribe and get free vouchers.
Hello and welcome. You are watching In Your Interest here on News9 Live. I am Krishna Kumar. First up, a check on all our headlines. India's stock markets end flat after a volatile session. Sensex closes 33 points lower at 84,266, while the Nifty slips 13 points to 25,796. Top gainers on the Nifty include Tech Mahindra, M&M, Britannia, Adani Enterprises and Infosys. On the other hand, IndusInd Bank, ONGC, Asian Paints, Bajaj Auto and Titan were among the biggest losers. Oil prices fall by more than 2% as the outlook for increased supply and slow global demand outweighs fears of geopolitical risks. Tensions in the Middle East rise after the Israeli airstrikes kill Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah, with Iran's supreme leader vowing more crushing blows in response. However, the market remained focused on the largest supply situation and weak demand growth. RBI's Deputy Governor J. Swaminathan urges small finance banks to evaluate their reliance on high-cost deposits for long-term stability and warns against imposing high interest rates and fees on borrowers. He emphasizes the need for small finance banks to promote inclusive growth through innovative tech and improve grievance redressal mechanisms, highlighting some concerning practices within the sector. Ford is in talks to manufacture electric vehicles at its plant in Tamil Nadu as part of its plan to re-enter India, the world's third largest car market. This comes 3 years after Ford announced the closure of its factories in India. While the company is yet to finalize what it will produce in India, Tamil Nadu Industries Minister TRB Raja hints that it's likely to be electric vehicles. The Andhra Pradesh state government announces a new liquor policy allowing private retailers to sell alcohol similar to states like Haryana. The state expects to generate 5,500 crore rupees in revenues through this move. As part of a complete overhaul of its excise policy, the government will privatize liquor retailing with more than 3,700 shops designated across the state. The new policy, which draws from the best practices of other states, will take effect from the 12th of October. According to an official notification. Will the Sensex touch 1 lakh points by the end of this year, 2024? Well, that's what we're asking on this edition of In Your Interest. Veteran emerging markets investor Mark Mobius believes that the Sensex could touch 1 lakh by the end of this year, a bold prediction that suggests a potential upside of nearly 20% in the final 3 months of the year 2024. Now, for those unfamiliar, Mark Mobius is a legendary investor with decades of experience in emerging markets like India. He's been a strong believer in India's growth story and has made significant investments in Indian stocks over the years. According to Mark Mobius, while there may be a few bumps on the road to that 1 lakh mark, he is confident that these challenges will only be temporary and that India's stock markets will continue their bullish momentum in what he calls as a long-term bull market. So far, for the year 2024, the Sensex is up over 16.5%. Impressively, it has delivered positive returns every year since 2015. In fact, the index has only declined once annually since 2012, with average annual returns of 17%. Now, we have some special guests joining us to help us understand this better. We have Mr. Nishchal Maheshwari, market expert, joining us. We also have Mr. Rohit Srivastava, founder and market strategist, IndiaCharts.com. Gentlemen, thank you so much for taking time out to be with us. I'm going to begin with Nishchal Maheshwari. First thoughts, Nishchal, from you on Sensex at 1 lakh by the end of the year. Mark Mobius does couch his argument by saying the fact that in the course of the bull run, there will be 5 to 10 to 15% corrections. But the fact of the matter is that we have just about 3 months left. Do you think the Sensex will touch 1 lakh by December?
So, I don't think so. It is far from imagination, basically, the market done the last 3 years. And all of us, at some point in time, 50,000 seemed to be a far cry, and then 50 and 60 and 70, and we are now 80. So I'm saying basically the momentum is there. There is huge amount of liquidity basically, which still continues to be there. And now, fortunately, the liquidity is being taken care of by the supply in the market. So I don't think so that it is very far-fetched. But what we have to see is basically two things. What will be the outcome of the US election? I think that carries a lot of weight. And secondly, how aggressive is the US in cutting rates? But I do not see that this is not within our reach.
Okay, Nishal, stay with us. Let me quickly get a similar reaction from Rohit Srivastava. Your first thoughts, do you think that Sensex at 1 lakh is not exactly far-fetched? It's very much a possibility at this stage.
If we put a time and price to it, then it does appear difficult, because if I say by this year end, that is December of 2024, getting to 100,000 or a 20% move is something we have really not seen in any particular calendar year for several years now. So it's a very, very tough call to really make that you'll do it in